Alright guys, so check it out. Yesterday we got the legendary trailer for Guinevere, a very controversial pick, seems like, in the community. A lot of people are feeling a certain way about this, and I thought I might as well just chime in, and we're going to talk about legendary Guinevere, my thoughts on her, and my thoughts on just legendary heroes in general, because I have been feeling very apathetic towards legendary heroes lately. I feel like they just don't really belong anymore. A lot of the choices have been shoddy at best, and I feel like legendary heroes have just lost their purpose. If we go over here, actually, we can quickly take a look at this. So this chart shows the originally released legendary heroes, and as we can see here, we have a majority of main characters, main lords. So Erica, of course, we have Ryoma in there. We got Lynn, Lucina, Ike, of course, Hector, Ephraim, Marth. All those guys make a lot of sense. There were a couple of oddballs, though, like, for example, the female Grima. That was such an odd choice for one, even back in the day. I remember thinking this was a weird legendary pick. And if this happened nowadays, she would have probably released as a mythic hero instead of a legendary hero. So just goes to show that even back then, the rules weren't like super set in stone. We also have a couple of OCs in there. We got Fiorm, Harid, and Gunthra. So the rules, I guess there never really were rules for what the legendary heroes had to be, but I just kind of had it in my mind that it was just going to focus mainly on the primary lords of the games, and then maybe like a secondary lord or a like secondary protagonist, characters who were like not quite as high up on the leader chain as the main lords were, but very close in stature in terms of story relevance or gameplay or whatever. So there's Tiki there as well. I guess Tiki would count as being like a secondary protagonist, more so in FE3, I guess. So, all right, let's go ahead and go back here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this meme here. I went ahead and enlarged this a bit. Just a funny little meme I found on the Reddit. You expected a criminally overdue fan favorite character like M. Corrin to get a legendary alt, but it was I, Guinevere. Okay, so the classic "it was me" Dio meme, right? But okay, first of all, Corrin is a fan favorite? I don't know about all that, Chief. I'm not sure if I would consider Corrin a fan favorite. Second of all, there was no way it was going to be Corrin this month either, considering that we got Hinoka last month. So they were not going to do Fates twice in a row. So I'm not too sure why so many people were dead set on male Corrin for this month. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. So let's just quickly take a look at this. This meme was made by K Master of Darkness. So let's just take a look at some of the comments here. Ridcrim says, I haven't played FE6, but she's a criminally overdue character in my heart, so it's alright. Now, my thoughts on this is that I'm all for Guinevere getting an alt. I feel like she's definitely a character worthy of getting alts, but I just don't feel like a legendary alt was the right pick for that. I would have actually been fine if she was a mythic hero. So, okay, we took a look at the legendary hero chart. Let's go down here. Let's take a quick look at the mythic hero chart. And you'll notice something, well, more OCs in here than anywhere else, right? But let's take a look at some actual characters. So we got Milla, we got Altina, we have Naga, we have Bramimond, Sothis. Yeah, like I would actually say Sothis and Guinevere probably are about equal in terms of story relevance. Maybe Sothis is a bit more, but the key factor with all of these characters is that none of them were ever playable, and Guinevere herself is not a playable character. So I guess you can count her being playable after the post game if you want to do the trial maps and unlock her that way. But in the main game, FE6, Sword of Seals, she is not a playable character. She's just there in the story, and she's a supporting cast member, but not playable. So my comment yesterday about it being Athos instead of Guinevere, I would feel like Athos has a definite claim to being a legendary hero over Guinevere because he was playable and she wasn't. So if Athos was legendary and then Guinevere was mythic, I would be 100% on board with that. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem like how things are going to go. All right, Soren319 says, Lilina and Fa have legendaries before the character most important to FE6 besides Roy. That is 100% true. Lilina and Fa are complete nobodies in FE6. Guinevere at least does stuff in the story, but she's just not playable. That's the one thing. Guinevere has been criminally overdue. 6 male Corins, by the way, for a character that could hardly be considered a fan favorite. Damn. Those are some harsh browns, but it's true. You'll survive a second Guinevere. Yeah, my sentiments exactly here. Yeah, also Lilina too. Like, why does Lilina have so many alts? I've never understood that. Lilina's got, I don't know if she has 6. She's probably got like 5 alts though, and then she has the Resplendent form as well. What did Lilina ever do in FE6 to deserve getting as many alts as she has? I've never understood that. All right, Sapphic Mage says, we literally just got Hinoko last month. It was never going to be Korin this month. Agree 100%. I don't know why people thought they would do Fates twice in a row. Fan favorite. I think you got your copium mixed up with crack. All right, bro, chill. Yeah, but we all know Korin, I would hardly say, is a fan favorite. Okay, so I guess we've covered enough of what we need to cover here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this over here now. Or, hold on, should we? There were a couple more things I wanted to bring up here, so I guess we'll finish up talking about the legendary and mythic hero thing first, and then we'll move on to that one final post that I want to talk about. Okay, so like I said earlier, I feel like the legendary hero concept has run its course. We've gotten a majority of the main characters already added as legendary heroes, and now we've gotten to the point where we're starting to get side characters or like non-main characters being legendary alts. So Hinoka was one. I didn't really feel like Hinoka deserved it. Keita as well. I was very opposed to Keita getting a legendary alt, but she got one anyway. Who else is there? Mur and Fa, absolutely. I don't see what was so legendary or even relevant about them. I'm not too sure why they needed to get legendary alts. Yuri is another one that's hotly contested, so there's just a lot of shoddy choices for legendary heroes that I feel like the community gets very uppity when they don't follow whatever unwritten rules we've came up with in our minds about who can be and who can't be legendary heroes. So I totally get the perspective from both sides. Like, okay, so Guinevere was story relevant, and certainly there's no way you're going to say, like, Tiki was more relevant in the story of FE1 or 3 than Guinevere. So, like, why not just give Guinevere a legendary alt as well, right? It kind of makes sense, but then in that same boat, I feel like only the main lords should have been getting legendary alts, and then the OCs should follow suit. So that's just my take on that. Feel free to disagree or agree to disagree or whatever you want to do, because I'm of the opinion that the opinions of many outweigh the opinions of one. Doesn't matter who's right or wrong, as long as more people are happy with one thing, I think that's probably just better in the long haul. So even though it doesn't sit right with me, I don't care if other people are okay with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I was actually going to talk about more. I was going to talk about like Guinevere's skills and all that, but I guess we can save that for the data mine tonight. So let's just go ahead and do this, and then we'll wrap up. So Astrum is the best has made this post here. I genuinely do not remember the last time Faye was this mediocre for this long. I gotta admit, I kind of agree with that, but I'll give my take after we read this whole post. I've been playing since release, and this is by far the most boring and dull year so far. It genuinely feels like Insys is not even trying whatsoever. Kind of agree. If they were trying, we would have been getting more engaged stuff, I think. At least one engaged banner would have happened by now. It's constant flop banners back to back to back with shitty or dull units. I have not seen any real hype for any banner. Okay, the summer banner was kind of hype. There's definitely been hype banners. I don't want to say it's like nothing has been hype at all, but it just feels like they are getting some questionable choices in here. Released this year past Femortis. I understand that with us approaching 1K characters that it's hard to make completely unique units these days, but they're genuinely not even trying. I would say it's more so not really oversaturation of having 1,000+ characters. I think it's really just Faye is 7 years old, man. If you've been playing since day one, there's going to be burnout. No matter how much you love the game, you're going to be burnt out by 7 years' time playing all that. Like, for all of that, you're not going to be feeling the same way as you were during year one. So I think it's more so just burnout. More so than, like, oversaturation of characters. How many God Swords did we have so far this year? 6? WTF? In any, or in under any circumstance in any game, when has it ever been acceptable to copy and paste the same archetype 6 times back to back? I mean, we're talking about any games now. I don't know if I want to go into that kind of discussion, but with multiple just directly power creeping the others, what's funny is that the most recent God Sword was underpowered compared to the previous two. So we got Ascended Fear, who's just weaker than Fallen Byleth and Lucia. So I would say they're not even power creeping anymore. They're just releasing, like, weak units. Under what circumstances would someone ever willingly do that? Alright, the unit picks are just awful and uninspired. Legendary Yuri. Does he even look legendary in the slightest, or am I tripping? I'm not, well, I don't want to talk about looks. Like, I have Yuri pulled up. I guess we can... I was going to talk about something else concerning Yuri, but okay, so his looks... I mean, I guess he just looks like base Yuri, but a little bit different. But it's not so much the looks, I feel. It's just more so the concept. That's the problem I have with the legendary heroes. They somewhere down the line, they just got lost in translation with the actual concept and the rules revolving around them. Okay, I don't know if I even want to read the rest of this. So, yeah, like, some of this I can agree with, but then a lot of it, I think this guy is just... He's probably just burnt out, honestly. Astrum is the best. If he's been playing since year one, he's just burnt out. Alright, let's take a look at some responses, and then we'll call it a day. The rest of the stuff we're going to definitely cover, because there's a lot that I wanted to talk about in this video. But it's going on for a little bit longer than I anticipated. Okay, Anon 69420. 69420, okay. Alright, Legendary Yuri, does he look legendary at all? He's just following the pattern of the other House Lord legendaries when they're just in their time skip appearance. Yeah, that's a pretty boring idea. They did that with all of the house leaders. They couldn't have been a little more creative with that. I swear, threads like these show up when my favorite games finally get some attention. Can't say I'm surprised, and one attribute this is the widening gap between offer and demand I observed for some time. One could still say that 2023 is a relative improvement due to spreading better the potential highlights. New heroes are less of a death march. Engage 3 houses and Fallen standing out. Seasonal choices offered a more balanced range of options, including standouts and vocally requested characters. Legendary and mythic choices are more of a mixed and perplexed bag, though, compared to strong indifference. That's a lot of big words for my peanut brain, man. Alright, Cute Chow. I agree, the amount of times people saying scraping the bottom of the barrel about games I like just makes me roll my eyes, especially since my favorite characters are usually unpopular, too. There's a lot of people like this in the community, by the way, and a lot of people, just a lot of Fire Emblem fans in general. Fire Emblem as a series is known for having a lot of playable characters. We're talking like 40 plus per game, where they have such fun and interesting support conversations. It really adds a lot of personality and quirks. So I can totally see every single character being a favorite of some fan out there. And to say that they don't deserve representation as alts or as units in Fae, I think is a very big disservice to the overall player base. But, I mean, my take, though, again, like I said, it's just the legendary hero thing, I feel like, has run its course, and we need a different concept now. Oh well, this year I've gained Noah, Joffrey, and Original Saul, along with various others, so I'm happy here. Yeah, Cute Chow is holding it down, man. I think a lot of people actually are of the same sentiments, where their favorites are not like the most popular character or the main lord or whatever. So to get representation is pretty nice. Alright, Haunted Towers. Haven't seen any real hype for any banner released this year past Mortis. Bro was asleep during the Fallen banner, yeah. I mean, we got Anankos on that Fallen banner. Fallen Byleth was ridiculous. This was a good Fallen banner this year. And then we had Fallen Maria as well. So, like, there have been hype. The Summer banner was really nice, too. So, I don't agree with this guy's sentiment on terms of that. But burnout is a thing. I think we could just put it like that. Burnout is definitely starting to run its course after 7 years. So let me know in the comments section what you guys think about all this. Are you okay with legendary heroes being, I guess, secondary protagonists or tertiary protagonists, etc., etc.? Or do you specifically just want the main characters, the avatars, and maybe some OCs thrown in there? Does there really need to even be rules for legendary heroes? I don't know. I wasn't sure what direction this video was actually going to go in when I started recording, but I guess here we are. Let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are on legendary Guinevere and all the other stuff that we brought up there, and I will catch you guys again later tonight when we get the data mines. And there's quite a lot more that I want to discuss about this.